What if you're changing layers from a ground plane to another ground plane deeper in the board? Let's say a 10-layer board with a ground on 2 and a ground on 9. You have a signal on 1, and you're going to 10 or 8, either one, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You simply need to move the fields from the dielectric space between 1 and 2, and you need to move them down to the dielectric space between 9 and 10. How do you do that? Well, you use a return via. This is a picture that Mike Creedon showed yesterday in one of his presentations that comes from the ever-present and always lovely Dr. Howard Johnson. Dr. Johnson retired, sadly, and I wish he hadn't, because a lot of his stuff is no longer available for download, but this man was brilliant. What this picture is showing is that the fields in the signal on layer 1 are in the dielectric space between 1 and 2. And when you move through a via down to the bottom of the board, in this case, he used a 4-layer board with 2 ground planes on 2 and 3 to do the study. But when you move the signal down to layer 4, the fields have to move to the dielectric space between 3 and 4. How do they get there? By going through the dielectric space between the 2 vias. The fields will couple across the 2 vias. So the closer you can get the return via to the signal via, the better. Now, I spent 45 years, I've been in electronics 55 years. I spent 45 years designing circuit boards in my career. I was a double E until I became a board designer. And I spent 45 years, I am a realist. I've designed some, you gotta be kidding me, dense boards. I know that you can't put a ground via next to every signal via. I get that. But you have to try when you're setting up the routing to get as many ground vias in the area of signal vias as you can get to contain the fields. It's all about field containment. If you don't have that return via there, the fields will spread out until they find enough natural capacitance between layer 2 and 3, and then they'll form a displacement current between 2 and 3 to move the fields down through the board. And that spreading could be for inches in some cases if the dielectric is thick enough, such as a 4-layer board with ground on 2 and 3, which is what he did in his study. That return via becomes crucial when you go from one ground plane to another. And notice where is the current in the vias. It's on the outside of the via barrel. I can't tell you how many people I know think, oh, I have to put a conductive fill in my vias to make them more, no you don't. There's no current inside the via. Current travels on the outside of the via. You can put peanut butter in the damn thing. It doesn't matter what you put in the via. It's unimportant.